of those machines are now broken. So even if you had the tapes and they were intact, which they probably are not, because they were never meant to last that long, you would have a hard time playing back or transferring those multi-tracks. So unless they were transferred back in the day as part of some archiving thing that Sony did, they're probably gone for good. That's why we did it, so we could reclaim this thing that we worked so, crazy at trying to finish from 1996 until 1999, So, yeah. And we did it. It's really exciting. Like, it's kind of done. I have to sing the rest of the record. That's what's left to do. And I'm on like song 4 now for that, or thereabouts. So.
Are you recording at home? Are you able to do that? Record at home?
Yes. Fortunately, finally, after many, many years of either being on a tour bus or being in a tiny little, being John Malkovich style loft, we have a place that we can set up our full system and record and do it old school way, but on new technology. So yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Cool.
Any other questions?
No, I think that was kind of it for now. We'd love to hear a song.
Okay, cool.
I think, do we have to do anything for Launch Global?
Yeah. Oh, let me see.
We had Brian from Launch Global had reached out to us and asked if he can simulcast this at the same time that we were.
Oh,
no,
nice.
sure. I remember Brian. Yeah, that was where we met. We met.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, that was a fun night.
What?
You know what?
It was pre-COVID.
Yeah, it was pre-COVID. I've had a little bit of trouble remembering if that was in the end of 2019 or the beginning.
It was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. I believe it was. Was it December, Em? I think it was. I remember it being very cold.
Yeah.
I think it was in December.
Yeah. Everything pre-COVID is just this whirling, heady, like.
Remember that?
Oh, remember those good times.
I don't know if Launch Global's here. I don't know if we were supposed to
Maybe
add
he just
him.
was able to simulcast it. But
Okay, yeah. He said, miss hanging with y'all at our press mixer.
yes, the press mixer.
The press mixer.
That was it.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, we just looked through the comments to see if we had to accept anything, but I think we're gonna assume that Brian was able to stream this as well. So hello to all the Launch Global people out there.
And hello to everybody watching. All right.
Cool. So what do you guys have lined up first?
So we have one of the songs from our last full-length LP, which was 2013. It was the Valentine LP, and it's the title track. And we might have our dog Buddy has reached that hour of the day where he goes to the furthest couch in the house and whines for us to come over and hang out with him one at a time. Very specific, needy thing that he does at certain times of the day. So he might sing on it a little bit, but so it'll sound more pathetic than it really is. Okay, you ready? My city wakes up in the afternoon like the rain came down in the month of June. The kings of murdering atmosphere, building bombshell towers with glass and fear. Get here. My city wakes up to the poison moon like the radio never played it soon. Gathered dust and scattered crazy glue. Will I build up a house big enough for two? Yeah, you. sunshine, won't you please be my Valentine? Come and give me your peace of mind. When will I be loved? With our tongues in the canyon shade, underneath skyscrapers and cars they made. And if our plan was to go just right, we will hatch another one that night. But alright. We'll book vacations and holidays, and then we'll act them out in the woods far away. And if some God ever finds me here, I believe only in you, my dear. Yeah, you. From the outside looking in, sometimes I worry I'll wait too long. Sunshine, won't you please be my Valentine? Come and give me your peace of mind. When will I be loved? You in this dark town, are you afraid of me? Yeah, you in darkest hour, you be the light of me. Yeah, you in planting flowers, you in passing showers, you up on the roof again. They don't know where we've been, baby. All they need is sunshine. Does it sound okay?
It sounded very
Great.
good. Very good.
Awesome.
That was beautiful.
Thank
That's
you.
a
Thank
great
you.
song.
I realized halfway through that it's actually it's a post-apocalyptic love song. And
Well, there you go.
it's just one of those ones that we grab for when we have to do acoustic stuff. So I didn't even think of that, but here, yeah, we are. Yeah.
Perfect. That was perfect. Your voices sound beautiful together. It's great.
Thank you.
Aw, thanks.
Thank you.
Have you guys done much live streaming since we've been in quarantine?
Just a handful, really. You know, we.
Maybe like twice?
Yeah, so I've done one other Instagram live, which was with Joey Janela, the wrestling guy.
Nice.
But yeah, man, we've done a few for our. We started doing this past week for our Patreon people. We started doing like full on request acoustic concert. That's patreon.com/Wheatus.
Yes, promote.
Good plug.
branding. No, and I don't know why I started wearing this hat again. Get this. I never wear this stupid thing, like ever, right? And lately, the weather's been amazing, and the sun is beating down. And in the springtime, I got sick of my hair and I shaved it off. So I started wearing the only hat that I have that actually has a brim, which is the
I was
stupid
going
hat.
to say, it reminds me very much of you in that video, Teenage
It's
Dream.
the,
You
it's
had
the,
a very similar
Yeah.
hat.
yeah, it's the very one. So,
Very
but
cool.
yeah,
It looks good.
it's coming. It's finally come in handy. 20 years later.
20 years later. Awesome. Cool. Well, I thought so. Just to kind of keep it flowing a little bit back and forth. Thank you for taking our questions and for playing. I thought maybe we would do a song and then kind of go back to you guys, go back and forth a little bit.
Definitely.
So,
What song are we
Jeff,
doing first?
I think we're gonna do Never first. You want to introduce it?
Sure. We're gonna play a new song and an old song. This song, like Matt said before, we were about to go into the studio and start recording, but then the whole pandemic thing happened right before we would have gone in. But this is going to be a song that's going to be on our next album whenever we happen to get to record it.
We're going to try and fit 3 instruments into this.
Here we go. Yeah, I'm gonna hide
Wait, we
that.
have
This is like
Like the old, like that
sideways thing.
that's
like
some Iron
80s
Maiden.
rock band.
Maiden has 3 guitarists like that. That's who you look like right now.
Should we go back and forth, guys? Can we like sing
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Well,
This
well
thing?
that would be that's gonna be
This thing?
good for free.
Lean my head in once in a while.
All right. We're gonna do
One.
the intro too.
Yep.
Ready?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's a way on my chest, wasn't real, I forget. When I took my first steps, full trips, lost my breath. Was I still just dreaming on searching? Meanings of feelings, if being is just what I needed to. As we walk past some graves and a bar that was paved, and I grabbed on your shirt with a hand full of dirt. Or was I still just dreaming or searching? Meaning so feelings and feelings just what needed to know. But I know it's you. But I finally again, and I know what it meant, and I feel in my chest that there's nothing I could ever get back. I know that I feel everything I had, that I know it's you, that I need everything I had, that I never needed
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
That
fun.
was awesome.
It's
Yeah.
We've done a few live streams, and that's the one thing when you finish playing, it's just like,
There's no one.
all right. So yeah, it's nice to have someone clap for you.
You gotta do the like jazz hands, like ta-da!
That's right.
It's like,
I have a question. Can I ask a question?
sure.
Sure.
one of you two guys is the drummer, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how do you, when you're not playing the drums and you're playing guitar,
Uh-huh.
do you ever fight over solo stuff?
Well, I'm playing the bass, so there's not.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need any
Right,
bass.
currently I'm playing the bass, but
Nice. Never mind.
occasionally I will play guitar. No, there's no
Yeah.
fighting.
So
Justin
do you
is the
just
solo artist.
Yeah, Justin's the solo king.
He's the solo king.
Bass solos.
Yeah, and he'll pull out some wicked bass solos every once in a while too. So yeah, we do. Typically, I do play the drums, and yeah, this
Nice.
is something I have to learn when we
Hey,
do things.
I'm assuming that was your kit in the video, or was it rented or something?
That was my kit. Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of snare drum is that?
It's an Orange County shark tooth snare. I love it. It's like the thing, you just turn it a little bit. No matter where you go, you can go from a 30-degree night to a 60-degree day if you're on tour, and it's like a little turn of the lug and you're back in tune. It's so great.
Cool. Yeah, that caught my eye. That was snazzy.
Yeah,
So,
it's Orange County OCDP. Yeah, I love it. A lot of people ask me about that actually, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
But yes, I recommend it highly.
So what do you guys have for us next?
Well, it depends where you want Dirtbag in the lineup.
Whatever
Wherever
you guys.
it's
Yeah,
up
whatever you
to
guys wanna
you
do.
guys.
Then I yield to you.
No, you play your
You want
song.
it?
I
Okay.
want to hear that. She's
All
got
right.
this new song that I really like that I want to hear. I also want to play a solo on it.
Yeah. Going to oblige me and play a solo.
Nice. Wow.
All right. Okay. So this is a new song that's actually I am working on a record now, so this will be on this. And Brendan is gonna play a solo. It's really exciting. This is all new, this part. All right.
You don't think I love you, but I do. Sometimes it's hard to figure out things I'm going through. Guess it's easy to misread when my words are leading to. You don't think I love you, but I do. Think I wanna hurt you, but I don't. I beg and plead for you to see the truth of what I know, truth of my intentions. And right now I know you won't. Think I wanna hurt you, but I don't. It's times like these when all of me gets washed up in the mind. Trying to get through to you, I'm frustrated and tired. Asking you to leave behind what some others might have done. Feel the calm of what we can become. We can turn this corner and go on. Leave this in the past, find a new road to travel on. We'll find a kind of peace, a brand new trust to build upon. Turn this jagged corner in. You don't think I love you, but I do. Sometimes the door you want is not the one you should walk through. The rain makes you forget about the good that's me and you. You don't think I love you, but time will look back on these days, thankful that they're gone. Sit here looking at the face I long to gaze upon. Thank our lucky stars for the path we walk along, and the love I feel for you is in song. And the love I feel for you is in the song. And the love I feel for you is in the song.
that was a completely improvised. I learned it 5 minutes before.
Well, you couldn't
Good
tell.
solo.
Yeah, great solo. That's a beautiful song. What was the inspiration for that song? Did you have anything that you?
Well, I can't say the inspiration without saying it in this southern accent. Because it's about getting through hard times.
Again, relevant, very relevant right now.
Yeah.
I think that could be like a wedding song. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's like a very beautiful song.
Oh, thank
Joe,
you.
get that licensing going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely get that licensing.
There you go. Awesome. That's great. So I have another question for you. I know you guys are working on a documentary right now called "You Might Die." Just maybe you could tell us a little bit about that, what we can expect from it.
A guy called Anthony Lane, or he goes by A.D. Lane. He reached out to me in about, I think it was 2008, and he was like, "I need to know your story. What happened after Teenage Dirtbag?" He's an English guy, lives in Kent, and in England, and he was just, we just started as like talking back and forth about things, because the record we had put out that year was rather dark and like progressive sort of psychedelia stuff, and he was like, how does this record relate to Teenage Dirtbag in any way? And I was like, well, there is a thread. And the thread was this murder that happened in my town when I was a kid, you know. And we got to talk and developed a relationship. And then around 2010, he came on the road with us. And he's a film director. At the time, I think he was a film student. Now he's a full-blown like professional. But he just started following us around, and he built up in his mind what he thought was like, okay, well, there's something more to this. I want to make a documentary about it. And I was like, oh man, like really? And so he did it all. He you know, with the exception of us just letting him on the tour bus, he really was the fly on the wall for like 3 or 4 tours in a row. And then he followed up. He expanded it. He's got his friend Ian, well, our friend Ian now, working on finishing it. And I watched the first cut myself right before the pandemic. In fact, they were supposed to fly here for the final round of interviews February 22nd. And Ian, this is crazy, had a bit of a premonition on the way to the airport and was like, no, turn around, just on his instinct. And that week it turned into like, hey, we have a serious problem here. And they maybe would have got stuck in America. Like, so I think actually I'm almost positive they would have until most recently. I think you could fly back. So he's still over there working on another cut. We're talking about how to move some things around, but it's kind of turned into this like thing I told everybody during, you know, people who've worked with us over the years. Wheatus has had like 30 members, and we're still in touch for the most part. You know, they were all sort of amicable splits, and we're still friends. So, you know, when it came, people would say, you know, what's this about? I would be like, don't polish it. Just say exactly whatever you have to say. Don't worry about me. So it's kind of a unvarnished look at what it's like to be sort of us, which is like we're this independent band that has this one song that everybody knows, but we've toured every year because the only thing we ever wanted to be was in a band that toured every year, you know. So, but somehow always we pull it together and send 2 tons of gear to the UK and drag it around with a bus and a trailer for a month and a half or 2 months. And we do that. We've done that once a year ever since the first record came out, with the exception of 2009, which was the financial crisis, and this year. So only 2 out of 20 have we missed. We even toured after September 11th that fall. So it's really just a story, a movie about what it's like for us to mobilize and get on the road and get home safely. That's it. So it's called "You Might Die" for that reason.
Awesome. Everyone look out for that.
Yeah, for sure. We will be.
Yes.
Thanks. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you guys Do you guys want to close out the thing or do you want us to?
Well, why don't we do a song and then they can close out?
Yeah.
Wait, can I ask you just a few questions before we end up?
Absolutely.
Can you please tell me how you guys came together to form a band?
Sure.
Justin and I met on Craigslist, and true story. And we started a band like maybe 12 years ago, and when that band ended, we started Dentist. And then we went through a few drummers, and then we found Matt, who had been a friend of ours, and it was the perfect fit. Right?
Thanks. Thank you.
And,
Yeah.
Wow.
Emily and I are actually married, and
Oh, okay.
people ask us how we met. We have to say, oh, we met on Craigslist, but it was actually because of putting up an ad looking for a musician to collaborate with.
Right.
But it's true.
That's so cool. That's a cool story. So, I mean, when I was listening, I've picked up like influences, maybe Breeders, maybe Blondie, maybe like a little bit of Ramones. I was like feeling. I also felt a little bit. You reminded me of this band. They're from Boston. Oh, Letters to Cleo. Do you remember them?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Are you familiar?
I've heard that's one of the things. Oh, I've heard their name. I've definitely heard that band name, but I'm not familiar with what they sound like.
Yeah. Anyway.
Can I interrupt for 2 seconds? Is it like a 45-minute thing? It cuts you off.
Oh, I don't know.
Is it? I don't think so.
I think there is a 45-minute thing, so we should just we may have to like re-log back on.
Okay, well,
Okay.
if anyone's watching, if this cuts to black, we log back on. And
Okay, so I'll play Teenage Dirtbag really fast.
Well, are you guys gonna play another song?
yeah.
We'll play one more real quick. And
Okay.
then,
Is there?
Don't play it real quick.
Yeah, don't play it real quick.
We'll play like 4 times as fast.
I'll just sound like
It's like
this.
It's the dance version. So this one, what are we playing?
Oh.
This one was on our last album. It's called
Well, wait, what is it called?
Oh.
Oh, like OH, like oh,
Oh.
Nice.
oh, that's what it's called.
Oh.
Ready?
Yep. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Alright, we're just a night. We'll fight the day, not even now. Come tomorrow with the sorrow, doesn't matter anyhow. Wishing I could turn my brain off and not mean that I did. Does my heart just not go on, or is it only in my head? If it does happen to cut off when you guys are playing and you're like almost done with the song, you're gonna have to do it all over again.
Yeah.
Well, here's a. Should we just
No,
log?
no, no, no. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's take
All
some
right.
chances.
Okay.
This is part of the
Yeah. Little gamble.
I did you hear that somewhere? Or was it like?
It's okay. I was on a long Instagram live and it was explained because it was like following court testimony and like at 45 minutes it stops and then you have to like log on and everything.
And cut.
And cut.
And cut.
So it's from experience watching someone else's Instagram live. That was
Okay. Well, how about this? I have one more question, and I think that'll be at 45 minutes because we logged on at 8:30.
Okay.
So if
That's great.
if it's a 2-minute question, hopefully we'll find out if that happens. This way it doesn't cut off in the middle of.
Okay.
So when you guys wrote this next song, was it like that light bulb kind of went off, like you knew it was going to be a big hit, or were you guys totally surprised when it hit the media?
No. Well, so I was like 1995, 96. I had rented a living room that was converted with curtains into a room from somebody in Floral Park near Queens, and I was super broke, and I was lying on my back thinking about Cyndi Lauper, and also
As you do.
and also thinking about like Cyndi Lauper and Metallica, and like those juxtaposition of like James Taylor guitars and Metallica guitars and Cyndi Lauper, like her first album, and like just that whole mush. And then it kind of crystallized into something that was much more about my experience during the time that I was paying attention to those artists. So I did know that it was a strongly written song, that it was like had good form or whatever, but I had been in and out of enough record deals by that time that I knew that wasn't a guarantee of anything. And this was like the 90s, like the bad old days. Like I had been ripped off pretty bad on a couple of projects, and I was very wary of showing it to anybody for a really long time. I kept it to myself, and just kind of developed it in the woodshed on the recording front, because I knew that I was hybridizing the production aesthetic of like literally like, what do the guitars sound like on Fire and Rain? Okay, now what do the guitars sound like on like that cover that Metallica did of Bread Fan by Budgie? Like just kind of mixing these jigsaw pieces and figuring out as a producer how to put them together, because had I gone into a studio, I knew enough at that point to know that I didn't know how to do it, and anyone I asked to do it would think I was nuts. So I learned how to make the record myself for the next 4 years, and finally recorded it like 3 or 4 times. And then 1999 was the last time we recorded it. We got the record deal with Columbia and we released it. So it was just like inching towards what we would eventually do with it, with the knowledge that yes, it was good, but that don't mean shit, really. Like, so a cautious optimism, or maybe a cynicism.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. Yeah, it's a very tedious process.
Yeah, it is.
What do we have?
All right, it is 9:16, so we passed the 45-minute mark.
Yeah.
We're over.
I guess, I don't know, maybe.
Well, nothing's more troll than to have Teenage Dirtbag get cut off. Like one other time or so where there's like, no. So let's try it. Let's do it. Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, and if we do cut off anyone that's watching, we're gonna log right back on, and we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do it again. I won't. Her name is Noel, and I have a dream about her. She rings my bell. I got 2 eyes and half an hour while she rocks in Kent's and 2 socks, but she doesn't know who I am, and she doesn't doesn't give a damn about me. 'Cause I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby. Yeah, I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby. Listen to Iron Maiden, baby, with me. Ooh. Her boyfriend's a dick. He brings a gun to school and he's a kid. My ass, if he knew the truth, he lives on my block. He drives a Naira, but he doesn't know who I am. And he doesn't give a damn about me. 'Cause I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby. Yeah, I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby. Listen to Iron Maiden, baby, with me. Ooh. Oh yeah, dirtbag. No, she doesn't know what she's missing. Oh yeah, dirtbag. No, she doesn't know what she's missing. Man, I feel like Mo. It's all night and I am only low and behold. She's walking over to me, this must be fate. My lip starts to shake. And how does she know who I am? And why does she give a damn about me? She said I got tickets to Iron Maiden, baby. Come with me Friday, don't say maybe. I'm just a teenage dirtbag, baby, like you. Ooh. No, she doesn't know what she's missing. Oh yeah, dirtbag. No, she doesn't know what she's missing.
Lovely.
Very good.
Lovely. Is there anything you would like to promote before we say goodbye?
Just our Patreon, and the Twitter account is me personally. Gabrielle's making a new record, Gabrielle Sturbins, and we're gonna eventually, before the year's out, we're gonna drop the re-record of our first album with an additional 10 songs on it from different periods where they sounded like it belonged on the first record, and songs that we didn't use because of that, they're going on this record now. So there's 20 total, the original 10, and 10 extra. So
Awesome.
Awesome.
Well,
Now, one little tidbit to add, which is that you guys played a show with two Wheatus members who were at the time in a band called Grim All Day. Well, they're still in that band, but I don't know where the gig was.
Gold Sounds.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Brooklyn,
Grim
yeah.
All Day.
Yeah,
You guys were on a bill together, and
Yeah.
they saw us playing with you. They're like, "Hey, how'd you know?"
Yeah. Our bass player was like, how do you know those guys? They're
Small
our friends, not yours.
That's
So,
Very cool.
whole world.
Tell them we said
Yeah.
hi. Yeah.
Yeah.
we will. We will.
Thank you guys so much for including us in this and inviting us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
sure.
thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it, and I feel like we got to know you guys a little bit better, and hopefully some other people did too. And so thank you so much. We're gonna hopefully be able to save this video and keep it up for a little bit. So we'll see what happens.
And you guys are
Thank you.
Wheatus official, right? In case people can't see.
Oh yeah, so our Instagram is Wheatus Official. The Twitter account is @Wheatus, Wheatus.com, and Patreon.com/Wheatus. There's a Facebook tube. It's just Facebook.com/Wheatus, and that's it.
Excellent.
Awesome.
And you can find us. We're pretty much just dentist band at everything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I found you real quick.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, I'm sure.
If you just type in dentist or dentist NJ, it's kind of
You'll find a good dentist.
yeah. You might find a good dentist,
But not us.
Not us.
Awesome.
Anyway, thank you guys so much. Thank you for doing your songs and all of this.